Welcome to Crime Maze. In this video we are going to talk about the 5 unsolved murders in Texas. So before starting this video, like this video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for future updates. Texas may not be the Wild West anymore, but the country's second largest state has seen many heinous crimes, from horrific serial killers who slaughtered dozens of people to mothers who drowned their own children. Texas crimes have not always seen justice. Sometimes the killers are caught, but in the case of the Texarkana Moonlight Murders, the killers remain at large. Still, Texas has seen some of the most heinous crimes in American history. 2 of the deadliest mass shootings in American history were in Sutherland Springs and Luby's Cafeteria. Other crimes, like when Daniel Athens peed on the Alamo, are less gruesome but more bizarre. Here are Texas' 5 unsolved murders. Number 5. Amber Hagerman. Amber Hagerman, 9, went biking with her 5-year-old brother Ricky on January 13, 1996. They took advantage of the warm winter day in Arlington, Texas, by going to an abandoned grocery store parking lot with a popular bike ramp. Amber and Ricky enjoyed the parking lot. After a while, Ricky decided to return home, leaving his sister to her own devices. Amber was soon abducted. Amber's body was discovered 4 days later in a creek behind Forest Hills Apartments, less than 5 miles from the parking lot where she was last seen riding her bike. Amber's body was discovered 4 days later in a creek behind Forest Hills Apartments, less than 5 miles from the parking lot where she was last seen riding her bike. Amber was kept alive for 2 days after her capture. According to an autopsy, her body was thrown into the creek after she was beaten and sexually assaulted. Amber's death is unsolved. Amber's case has 8,000 plus leads. Amber's case remains unsolved despite the efforts of nearly 50 cops and federal agents. But the cops aren't giving up on finding Amber's killer. Someone out there has knowledge that will help Amber's family and our community, they claim. Detective Ben Lopez at 817-459-5373 is looking for witnesses to Amber's death. Any information leading to the suspect's arrest and grand jury indictment is worth $10,000. Number 4. Jeannie Quinn. Jeannie Quinn, 20, was murdered in April 2018. Jeannie died in Levelland, Texas, on April 15, 2018. Her family reported her missing. Jeannie's body was found 2 days later in Abilene's woods. A white bag was on each of her hands. Her death was ruled a homicide with a staged hanging. Ricky Don Henderson, 57, is a suspect in Jeannie's death. Ricky was Jeannie's boyfriend and the last person to see her before she vanished. Both Jeannie's family and authorities believe Ricky killed her, but he has yet to be charged. They were able to connect Ricky to 2 unrelated drug cases from 2016. So, investigators decided to charge Ricky with distributing controlled substances to a minor. A guilty plea in December 2019 got him 20 years in prison. Ricky was also linked to a 2007 Hockley County drug case. On those charges, he got 25. Despite Ricky's continued detention, Jeannie's family hopes he will be charged with her murder one day. Ricky has abused several women, including Jeannie. Stephanie Henderson, his ex-wife, went missing in Hockley County in 1993. In that case, Ricky is the only suspect, a continuing threat to society. According to District Angela Overman, Ricky's parole hearing will take into account the accusations against him, but Jeannie's family is not giving up. So, in February 2019, Jeannie's uncle John Quinn went to see Ricky. He met with Ricky for 30 minutes. No details of their conversation were revealed, but John told reporters afterwards he felt they had moved closer to bringing justice for Jeannie. Despite this, no charges have been filed against them since their visit. An investigation into Jeannie's death is seeking more information. An anonymous tip could lead to a $12,500 reward. Number 3. Terry Missy Beavers. The late Missy Terry Beavers dedicated her life to assisting others. She was a devout Christian who believed in helping those in need. It was then that she met her future husband, Brandon. Following her passion for teaching and achieving her lifelong goal of becoming a special education teacher, Missy returned to school to obtain her teaching certificate. Missy was a well-liked social media star with a stunning physique. Missy was to teach a fitness class at Creekside Church in Midlothian, Texas, on April 18, 2016. No matter how bad the weather forecasted, Missy was determined to work out regardless. She got up early because her class was at 5 a.m., and she had to set up early. It was 4:20 a.m. when she arrived at the church, unaware that someone was waiting for her. The class found Missy unconscious and unresponsive at 5:00 a.m. Multiple puncture wounds to her head and chest showed she had been brutally beaten. Even though EMTs arrived, she was already dead. After reviewing the church's security cameras, they were both puzzled and frustrated. Unknown assailant broke into church at 3:50 am by breaking a side door glass. The suspect wore all black SWAT gear including a vest and a helmet. The tactical gear and helmet made identification difficult, and even concealed the likely gender. A hammer or a mallet was used to break several windows and open doors inside the church before moving towards Missy Beavers' exit. With a limping foot or leg, the suspect appeared to be female, but police cannot confirm it. Number 2. Belinda Temple. Belinda Temple was brutally murdered in her upstairs bedroom closet on a warm winter day in a quiet Katy suburb outside of Houston, Texas, perceptibly hiding in her closet with her phone, unknown to Belinda and her unborn child. A single close-range gunshot killed them both. A 12-gauge shotgun with reloaded .00 buckshot was used in the murder. When shot with a shotgun, you expect blood splatter and other debris to be blown back at the perpetrator from all directions. Splatter and other matter would transfer to objects if the suspect did not clean up. A blood transfusion can help solve many cases. Investigators are always looking for the victim's spouse until they can determine where they were at the time of the murder. In high school, Belinda's husband was a standout football player, David Temple. He was a high school football coach in the Katy area at the time of the murder. When David's wife died, detectives needed to know where he was. Initial investigations focused on establishing a timeline of the victim's movements prior to death. During the afternoon of her death, Belinda was seen texting David from her school. It was 3:32 p.m. According to phone records and eyewitness accounts, the Harris County Sheriff's Office handled the Temple murder investigation, HCSO. Their report was 19 pages long. Later, new evidence emerged suggesting David was wrongly convicted. Soon after Belinda's murder, Daniel Glasscock, a high school friend of Riley Joe Sanders, reported an overheard discussion. He thought his old pal was involved in Belinda's death after hearing the conversation. His conscience bothered him, and he was in prison for his silence, he claimed, before taking the information to David's lawyer, Dick DeGuerin. This witness talked with his pastor about his options. In August, David Temple's bond was set at $1 million. However, he remains imprisoned until March 2020, when a third jury will decide his fate. Temple is a depraved murderer who deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison, Kahan stated. His family can visit. Belinda's family must visit a grave. Number 1. Fred and Edwina Rogers. Fred and Edwina Rogers were allegedly murdered by Charles Rogers before being chopped up and stuffed into their refrigerator. They didn't realize they were looking at the Icebox Murders' two victims at first. It was June 23, 1965, and they were called to 1815 Driscoll Street. When the officers opened the fridge, they thought it was a hog's meat. Fred and Edwina Rogers, the murdered couple, killing them, draining their blood, dismembering and freezing them. Someone took Fred Rogers' eyes and genitals, threw them in the sewer, and vanished. The crime remains unsolved to this day. Some believe the Icebox Murders have a mysterious link to the 1963 John F. Kennedy assassination. A hammer was used to bludgeon Edwina in the head. In addition to killing the Rogers, their killer dismembered them, removed Fred's genitals, and flushed his intestines into the toilet. The couple's 42-year-old son Charles became the prime suspect in the Icebox Murders investigation. Charles Rogers grew up with them. His door's keyhole was smeared with blood, and he was missing. Rogers had to put up with Hugh and Martha Gardena's manipulative behavior for years. According to the Icebox Murders by Hugh Gardner, they'd taken out loans in his name, drained his savings, and made his life hell. But a nationwide search for him turned up no results. Authorities even checked local airfields, as Rogers learned to fly in the Navy. His death was certified in 1975. What do you think about this video? Do let us know down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from us again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.